Hi everyone, if you're watching one of my videos for the very first time, my name's Adrienne and I am a former public school teacher turned homeschool mom, so I'm very passionate about empowering other moms to provide a stable and healthy environment for their kids by supporting them through homeschooling and sharing ways to live toxin-free. So this week's video, I'm going to talk about homeschooling with littles. If you have little kids in your life, if you've ever been around a little kid for maybe 3 seconds, you might know that they have lots of energy and lots of things that are challenging when you're trying to homeschool your other children. But never fear, there are lots of tips and tricks that you can use to help keep them occupied so you're able to spend some one-on-one time with your older children and make sure that you're providing the homeschool experience that you want without feeling rushed. I love the book Teaching from Rest. I don't remember the author's name, but it is amazing, and I think it's a resource that I'm going to have to read multiple times to really get all of the nuggets out. You want to make sure that your homeschool environment feels safe for your kids and that it's not rushed. You cannot learn when you are afraid or when you feel like you are in an unsafe environment, which is so heartbreaking for me when I was in a public school setting, because so many of my students came from unsafe environments, so they were never able to really relax. They were always on alert. They were always just waiting for something terrible to happen, just because that was unfortunately very common in their life. And science has proven that when you are stuck in that, they call it the fight or flight mode, you are not able to reason and think and learn. So if you are constantly in a hectic environment at home, disciplining your younger kids while you're rushing through with your older student, you're not going to be giving them the education and the homeschool experience that they deserve. So you want to make sure that you're providing a safe and restful experience. And I know that that is so much easier said than done. So here are a few tips that I'm going to share with you, and I really hope that it can encourage you and just give you some maybe ideas to try out if you are in the same boat as me, homeschooling with littles. So make sure that you are starting your day with your littles. They really need that information. They need that connection, that touch right away, and they don't always get, if mine don't get it first off, trying to start homeschooling with my older student is like a nightmare. So I will usually sit on the couch with them, snuggle for a little bit, talk to them, we'll read a couple books together, just so they have that time, that sacred time with mommy, that one-on-one time with mommy. I'll have them pick out a couple books and we'll talk about it. And of course, that's a learning experience too, right? You're asking them questions while you're reading, you're having them try and say some words. So it's school, it's learning, and you're also building relationships with your kids. I think that's one of the biggest things for me. One of the biggest reasons that I love homeschooling is that we have that time to build a relationship with each of our kids and really connect with them throughout the day that we wouldn't have if we sent them to school. So when you're schooling your older child, here's a few things that I have tried that have worked thus far in my journey. I have an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2.5-year-old. So the 4-year-old is preschool, getting ready for kindergarten age, and then the 2.5-year-old just likes to do school with us, so she pretends to do school, but they are very much into lots of things and busy, very busy. So I have to keep them busy in order for me to really focus on my older child while I'm homeschooling. So I like to have a basket of random toys that only come out when we're homeschooling. So those are special toys that they don't get to see all the time. I got these suction cup toys that stick to anything like a hard surface. They can stick to the refrigerator, they can stick to the windows, they can stick to like a dry erase whiteboard, even the table. They stick to each other, so they can create little things with the suction cups. They're great for the bathtub too. Not recommending that you put them in the bathtub while you're homeschooling. I have done that before and it was a disaster. But if you're looking for multifunction toys, you can have some that are for homeschooling and throw them in the bathtub too. That's fun. I also like to get out stickers and coloring books for them to play with and do while I'm homeschooling my older child. And then sometimes I will even get them like their own little school supplies so they feel like they're doing the same thing as Big Sissy, right? They're opening up their book with their pencil or their crayon and they're tracing their letters. The Dollar Tree has lots, I guess it's the $1.25 tree now, has lots of resources that you can get like super cheap, that I don't worry about them annihilating while I am working with my older one. So they like to play school. If you are really struggling and you really need to concentrate, it is totally fine to put on a show for your little ones to watch and go do school in another room with your older. That is so fine. Don't let the mom shamers come after you. It is totally acceptable. I have some shows that I kind of keep in the background if necessary, that are also learning experiences. They love to learn like the alphabet. There's all kinds of channels for that are on YouTube, as long as you keep an eye on some of the ads, because unfortunately the ads can be very inappropriate for children. So we usually stick to like Bluey shows or something like that, where it capture their attention for like that 26 minutes, so you have that solid time to work with the older one. I've also given them snack, because what homeschool kid doesn't like snack, right? And my older one can snack while she's doing her lesson, and then the little two can sit and enjoy their snack and be content for maybe 10-15 minutes while they're eating. Hopefully you have some ideas that you can snag from that. If you have your own ideas, I'd love for you to drop them in the comments. Another thing I like to do is we have a morning basket that we start off with the day and we read together. I have a read aloud book or two that we read. It's so nice to read to them because it can be way above their level, but they can still understand it, because when you listen to a book, you can listen to it above your level. It's a lot more of a struggle for them to read the hard words, but they can listen to them. So we read together a lot. I try and do that every day that we start homeschooling. The biggest tip I can give you, though, if you have little ones, is to give yourself grace. And I know this is easier said than done. You have to remember that learning comes in all different ways, and it's not just working through a curriculum. It's not checking the box that you finished the lesson, right? There are so many other avenues that your kids can learn. They're learning all kinds of social things. They're learning how to interact with people different ages, which is something they don't get in a regular classroom. They're learning how to maneuver through emotions and manage their emotions, and what to do when they're upset, and how to work through things, and how to really focus on something when there's chaos around them. I always tell my oldest, like, you're going to be so good about being able to tune things out when necessary, because sometimes we got meltdowns in the background and you're still working on your math lesson, right? So give yourself grace, and remember, it's okay if you don't finish the lesson. Do your best, get through it, find those learning opportunities wherever you can, and just roll with it. When littles are melting down, which is unfortunately a very often occurrence in this household, you can model for your kids what it looks like to give other people grace and compassion and patience, those are great skills for life, right? You're going to be modeling this for them, and hopefully they will pick up on it and they will be able to apply it in their adult life, because there are lots of situations where you need to show other people grace, compassion, and patience. And there's no time like the present to start learning how to do that, right? And with your siblings especially. Older siblings can be learning through you incorporating your day like this and spending time with the littles first and having them entertained while you're schooling. Your older, just that back and forth flow and just being at home and learning through home. Your older children are going to learn lots of skills. So I just wrote down some that came to mind. I'm sure I'm missing some, and I'd love for you to drop in the comments if you think of any that I missed. Socialization. I could do a whole video on socialization. Socialization is not a concern for me in homeschool, because I make sure that we have social interaction with other people. I'm taking my children to the grocery store. They're interacting with other customers. They love to wave to strangers and strike up a conversation. We talk to the cashier. When we go to the post office, they're talking to the people there. So they're getting experience from all different people, all different ages of people, all different races of people, different cultures. There was a man walking down the street in our neighborhood and his clothes were different, so we had a whole culture conversation. So you just look for those opportunities to insert a little nugget for them. And socialization is, I'm not bothered by socialization, because they're socialized, right? And then we have play dates where moms come over and they have 3 different kids of all different ages. So then they're interacting and learning that you have to play a certain way with a 2-year-old, but you can play a little different with a 4-year-old. And maybe once you get up to like 8 and 9-year-olds, they're going to all play different. And they've got to figure out that like mix of how to incorporate everyone in a game. And yes, the 2-year-old can feel like they're contributing. If you're playing a game, give them a little game piece. They're not really doing anything, but they feel like they are. So you're including them in what you're doing. That's a great skill for them to learn. I love that my 3 girls are home together and we can work through these issues and learn how to live, learn, and play together. You're also teaching your older child that modifying things is okay and change will happen, and it's okay to just roll with it and go with the flow. If you are so rigid and nothing ever changes, that's not giving them a good preparation. That's not preparing them for life. Nothing is always going to go exactly how they planned it. They need to be flexible and be able to change with the situation. You're also showing them that feelings are important. They're not something that you're supposed to like suck up and deal with. You're not supposed to just move on. Like, it's okay to sit with your feelings for a while. It's okay to acknowledge, yeah, I'm kind of sad today. I'm a little mopey. I'm upset. I'm angry. Those are okay. It's just modeling for them how to react to those emotions. That just because you're angry, it's not okay to hit your sister, right? So there's lots of learning opportunities in there. It's also showing them that it's okay to pause and take care of your loved ones. If my little 2 are hitting each other, I'm going to stop the lesson that I'm working on with my older, and I'm going to go tend to them and make sure that they understand that that's not okay, and that they make up, and that they love each other because we're family, and it's not nice to hit other people, and the whole gamut, right? So you're not putting the little ones above the older one, but you're showing them that it's important to take care of the people that we care about, and it's important that everyone knows our rules and things that we feel are important in this household. So that's it for schooling with littles. I hope that gave you some ideas and some value. And again, if I missed something, please drop it in the comments.